Good morning, everybody. I see Josefina, Melanie's here, Dorothy, Jan, good morning, and Mac, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We had a little technical problem here. I'm not very versed on these things, so my apologies. But it's 8:30 in the mornings. I'm going to get started. So welcome to the Unlocking Your Potential webinar, how to create and design your best year ever. And the principles that I am going to share today are based on Chinese metaphysics, which are part of Feng Shui in Chinese astrology mostly. Can everybody hear me okay? If everybody can hear me okay, just type a yes maybe on the chat box. So yes, I am recording. Thank you for the reminder. And good morning, Erin. Erin just joined us. Thank you so much. A lot of you guys, like Mag, she says it's 6:30 in the West Coast. I appreciate you getting up early. And I think Josefina is very early in Panama, isn't it too? So thank you so much for joining. So today I'm going to sort of tell you a little bit about the agenda for today so you know what to expect. And I'm going to start sharing my screen for that so you can see. All right, so what we're going to talk about this morning is what does the new year represent? You know, why is it celebrated? Cross-cultural facts. I like the cross-cultural facts and country facts too and cultures because we are all a mix. I am a mix of Japanese, Spanish, and a little American, I guess. So I don't think anyone here is 100% one blood, basically. So also what energy shifts are, how they affect us. And I want to clarify some myths and some things out there that are designed to commercialize what Feng Shui really is and just taking the beauty out of it. And I have 3 special guests today also. I have Dorothy Ross, who is an ordained minister. She's been courageous to join us today. Tanya, I recorded Tanya so you could hear her testimonial because she also has plans this morning and she's also in an earlier time zone. And Melanie Jane Nicholas, who's an entrepreneur, and you'll hear how she uses Feng Shui in her everyday life. This is designed to be an interactive webinar, so please raise your hands if you have a question. I know we had 30 people register today, so I don't know if they'll be trickling in or they're just waiting for the replay. And then we'll have a chance to have some Q&A at the end. And at the very end, I also invite you to for program, and you'll hear all about it at the end. Chinese New Year, it's a celebration of the lunar cycle. So when you see the dragon and the tangerines and the celebrations is based on the lunar cycle. And the lunar cycle changes every year. So it could be sometime between the end of January to mid-February. But the solar cycle is what we use for astrology and Feng Shui. And that is usually on the 4th and 5th of February. That is nice because it is consistent to use for Chinese astrology as well as Feng Shui. So who here has heard about Feng Shui before or have not heard about this before? I think you all have. I see your names right here. The dragon dance represents warding off evil spirits. It's based on a folklore that they do the dance and they make noise basically to chase the evil spirits. It is the highest travel holiday in the world because 1 out of 6 people in the world celebrate Chinese New Year. It's celebrated for about 2 weeks, so there's a lot of travel and visiting families this whole time. They bring gifts to each other. They do different types of meals every day. And the first day always starts with cleaning up their home. That way they get rid of all the dust and all the things that were left from the previous year. The cross-cultural thing here that I really like is this comparison. It's like Carnival that is celebrated in Brazil, in South America, in Central America. So in United States, we have Mardi Gras right here. In all the other carnivals from Central America, Australia. So the white girls over here is Australia, and the nice tan girl is from Central America. We, as humans, we needed some form of celebration and like a doorway into a different aspect of energy. So that was always done. And in a way, some of the things are still continued now. So here's my story. I wanted to share a little bit about my story and how I got started with Feng Shui. Like I said, I like the cross-cultural things because I myself, I'm a mix of Asian and Spanish and American. My mom was full Japanese and my dad half Japanese and half Bolivian. So I grew up one of four kids and I grew up Catholic. In my town, there were a lot of German people because there was political instability where I grew up. I was sent to the United States to go to school, to college, basically. Here, my college years. I got married. I had two girls, and then I got remarried, and we have two boys now. But I had a chance to work corporate job that with the changes with 9/11, something happened that took me to Feng Shui. And how I started Feng Shui was at the worst time in my life, basically. I became certified when we were in the middle of our bankruptcy. We had a bankruptcy because we were so inspired by the book, The Millionaire Next Door, that we decided to invest in three businesses. One was real estate. The other one was restaurant and brewery business, and a wellness and development business. At the time, our three older kids were in college and they were one grade apart. So it was a really, really tough time because we failed miserably in two of the businesses. We were left carrying debts from the other two businesses that we had invested in. So those were very stressful and touchy times where every dollar counted. And anyone who's gone through bankruptcy knows that there's a little bit of a shame, aspect with it. So it was we were shrouded in secrecy in a way because of the shame, and also because we did not want to put pressure, for example, in our kids. Only our partners knew. But I continued to practice Feng Shui through this time. And it made me want to learn more about it through my failures because I wanted to get beyond that. And life started shifting. The government check my husband was expecting, it came in the mail. There's other extraordinary things that happen with the bankruptcy. Some of our debts got forgiven. I had the blessing and opportunity to further my knowledge with Feng Shui and flew to Asia and completed my training. I'm up to my fifth teacher now. So things worked out, but my life is completely different now. It just shifts so much. My husband took early retirement from a stressful job, and less than 2 years after we finished paying 95% of the bankruptcy, he retired. So the stress really got to him. I have Feng Shui to thank for that because following some of those principles, these are going to be the same principles that I'm going to share with you that shifted our lives for good. Here are my teachers. This was my first teacher, and then I followed with Catherine Weber. This is my business coach, and these are two other teachers that I have. Dr. Paul Young, who's like a fourth, fifth generation Feng Shui and holistic doctor. One of my current teachers here, Joy Yep, who's very internationally known. I've also delved on the other subjects because of my interest or linking Feng Shui with other thoughts out there that are coming up. And I've learned something from each one of those people when I saw them live, each one of them live. So I wanted to start with myth busting number one. Feng Shui is not a religion. There's two distinctive Feng Shui knowledge or schools here in the United States. One is the Feng Shui, American Feng Shui that works with intention. And the other one is the Asian or classical Feng Shui that works with compass directions, and it's aligned with the energy of the earth. So anytime you see this box, which is called the Lo Shu Square, that has these symbols in it, it is not necessarily true because the American Feng Shui, this is symbolizing the American Feng Shui, and it's about intention. So the back left corner of your home is not always abundance, it's not always wealth. In the Asian version, Feng Shui goes beyond that. So I will show you how that's done shortly. To debunk this myth that feng shui is not a religion, I have my guest, Dorothy Ross, who's an ordained minister and has been a member of our monthly group. Dorothy, would you like to unmute yourself, or I'll unmute you here? There you
Hi,
go.
Veronica.
Hi. Do you want to show yourself?
I don't have a problem with that. I can show myself.
Okay. Actually, we could all show ourselves if you like. There's
Let's see if I can make this happen. I'm not really sure on your, I think it's really not on my side. I don't know.
Oh, okay. You know what? It's because the panelist, my technology, the panelist thing didn't work. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. The first thing I want to say is everyone has to do their own diligence when dealing with anything, whether it be of a Christian nature or if it's personal or what have you. We have to make sure that things are right for ourselves. So what I did was I started looking into what feng shui was all about. I first looked up the definition of what feng shui is, and then I went back and I started looking at different articles, looking to see what some of the psychologists had to say, what some of the pastors would say about it. And what I found out is it's actually not a religion. It's a study of science and astrology. And besides that, what it does is it gives you techniques and instructions about the effects of opposing energies like high and low, female and male, light and dark, you know. So I said, well, I need to know just a little bit more because as a Christian, I mean, I haven't heard anything negative spoken about it in talking to people, but I knew that Christians would have a problem with me being a pastor and maybe getting into something that I would actually take on, like an idol or something. And that's something I didn't want people to think that it would happen. Yes. So as a Christian, our job is to believe in the harmony of the earth, in peace and order within our own lives, and how we go about achieving that and maintaining that. So what I found out is there are a lot of different ways for us to go about encouraging ourselves, a lot of different ways for us to, let's say, bring ourselves out of the funk. You know, life throws us loops and bounds and circles, and sometimes we can't come out of it. And because of that, I believe that there are other ways to help us to get back into a balanced life where we need to be. And feng shui just happens to be just one of those ways. It's not the only way, but it's one of those ways that that can actually happen. So dealing with yin and yang, the opposites. Okay, I am definitely about positive. Okay, so I'm learning about different things about feng shui, but not only am I learning about it, I'm learning how to apply things to my life. Okay, now I don't want anybody to get it wrong. I am all about God. God is my higher power, whatever you want to call him. He's my great I am. He is that. I lean and I depend on him. But sometimes we get in such a funk, or we're hanging around people that are so negative in our lives and things aren't going right, that we actually need someone to, or something to actually remind us that there's more to life than just what we're going through that's not good.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for that explanation. So you learned a lot as you joined the group, and you've been in the group for about a year, right?
Yeah, about a year. Yeah.
Okay. How has the knowledge from every month, for example, has impacted your life or your decisions? Has that helped you?
Well, you know what? I actually found out that a lot of times when I come on with you and the other members in the group, and I start listening to some of the positive things that you're implanting into us, those are things that I've already started to do, or it was already on my mind to get started with. So what you kind of do is you reveal on the inside of me what's already there. Okay. And now I get a chance to speak it out. I get a chance to act it out because now I know that, okay, well, wait a minute. Okay. Here's something else that's positive in my life. And we're on the same, let's say we're on the same thing. So now I can kind of like move forward. It doesn't give me any more intelligence, but what it does is it gives me the initiative. It lifts my head up from being down
doubtful.
And out. Yeah, not knowing what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's excellent, excellent. So you think that when you have peace, you can create, you can have confidence, and you could go forward, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'll give you, for instance, I was doing work around the house and everything a couple of days ago, and I didn't stop to eat. It's what it was. I drank some coffee in the morning time, and I didn't want to stop, so I went and got some tea. I still didn't stop to eat, and all of a sudden I had a headache. And when that headache started, I'm like, where's this headache coming from? You know, I had to stop. I couldn't function anymore. I couldn't keep on with what I was doing. So I had to stop and sit down and, you know, I had some soup. So I made some soup and ate some soup. And then, you know, I began to calm down. You know, the headache just started to just kind of go away so I could get back into what it was I needed to do.
That's great. Now, looking at your natal chart, has knowing your natal chart helped you a little bit?
You know, I always have to come back to you to explain that to me.
So you don't have to remember the elements, but has knowing what the element mean helped you know deeper in yourself who you're meant?
Yeah, it does. It does help. You know, it does. I'm really even in ministry. I know what earth and wind and fire, all of that's spoken about in ministry, but to get the scientific version of it is amazing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much, Dorothy, for coming on and sharing your views and your testimonial of Feng Shui. I truly appreciate you being in the group.
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I know that I want people to know that all of our love and our joy and our peace and everything, all of that we know that comes from God. But I don't want them to ever to get scientific natural power, which is Feng Shui, confused with God's spiritual power. One has nothing to do with the other one. And that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dorothy. So I wanted to share a story about a couple that were our friends of ours, acquaintances more like it, but they owned a business. I noticed that there were going to be some bad energy coming in. And in fact, they had bought a business. They had rented a business that was being empty. It was empty for 2 years. It was bankrupt. I tried to approach them many times to do some Feng Shui in their place, but every time I approached them, it was just okay, but they never came out. So because they knew me and I knew what was going on, what would happen for me in my eyes, I said, listen, you guys are starting. I'll be there. I'll do it. I'll do it for free. But they still didn't do it. So I saw that as a lesson that it wasn't my place. You know, it's not for everybody. I'm not meant to work with everybody. But so that may be a lesson for me. Long story short, they get hit by really bad energies and they lost the place because they couldn't pay. One of the main people in the business got ill and got surgery after surgery. He went through 9 surgeries. Now the medical for a small business is tremendous here in the United States. So with that, they almost lost their marriage. They went to a point where they were not together anymore, but then they decided they're coming back for different reasons. I'm thinking that they could have saved that suffering. And, you know, when you have growth, if you keep going, you have exponential growth. It's just like when interest rates used to be higher, and if you left your money there, your money would grow. But with feng shui, it's the same thing. You have that energy bank that saves you as you go through time and space. But with these people, they couldn't stay afloat, so they went down. So now they have no savings, and they probably have to work until, you know, until they're 90. So that's the power of aligning with energies in this case. I wanted to share that. So feel free to ask any questions in between if you have any. So do you guys have any questions for Dorothy? If you do, just raise your hands. If not, I will keep an eye open for you. So I see no hands being raised. Okay. All right, I'm going to continue with the energy map. So the energy map is what we superimpose in a home, for example. And this is the basic map called the Lo Shu Square. And it's also called the magic square because any way you take it diagonally, vertically, horizontally, the sum is 15. So I picked this illustration because it was such a perfect illustration. It's based on the 8 trigrams and the directions, south, east, west, north, and north. All that was inspired at the time of the Yellow Emperor with, the legend says that it came from the turtle's back. That was the revelation. But the thing about the cross-cultural element is that the Masons use this too. The Masons are one of the most powerful in the United States, and they're the ones that pretty much dictate probably the fate of the United States. And then other cultures and religions like the Kabbalah still uses that to determine that. And this is a 3x3 square, and there's other squares that are like 9x9 and different in size that are used in different ways. But feng shui always uses the 3x3. The movement of the stars, which is a very popular feng shui technique, is based on the seal of Saturn. There's other cultures that use the seal of Saturn. And why Saturn? Because it was determined that Saturn was the most powerful of the planets and the most negative of the planets. So they found a way to follow its path and write its path to know when it's coming and what the cycle is. And the Chinese were the first ones to invent the map, the compass, and this is called the Lupan. And this is the energy map for 2019. See the difference? The numbers are in different locations. This, for example, you know, the 4's right here in the southeast, whereas this year, the northwest is 4. I'm sorry, my dog is here. And then the 6 is on the bottom in the northwest. So all those numbers change and travel, and they mean something. I know some people, there's a lot of commercialism there about feng shui. Some people sell the money tree and they think that it is good luck or is this good feng shui. It is not good feng shui. It just represents the element of wood. And the cute little wind chime that they put as a nice addition to this thing represents the element of metal, and it just makes a nice little decoration. And this is another myth-busting thing about feng shui is, you know, there's big things at the beginning of the year. Which is the lucky color? Which is the lucky purse? Which is the lucky thing? I'd be honest with you, at the beginning, I fell for that too. But some of the items I actually like. You know, I like the Asian decor. But the truth is that as much as 75% of the quality of the energy comes from the external environment. I will illustrate in an example here shortly. But here is Tanya's story. I'm going to play her video. Welcome, Tanya, to the Unlocking Your Potential, Creating and Designing Your Best Year Ever webinar. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Tanya, a little bit about Tanya. Tanya owns Blue Heron Holistic Health, shaping healthy bodies, minds, and hearts. Tanya is committed to transforming limiting beliefs, generational trauma, chronic pain, emotional pain, physical pain, food allergies, and mood issues so people can become more expansive and create their greatest life. So Tanya, what led you to join the monthly group?
I've had an interest in feng shui for some time, and I had just kind of dabbled in it. I realized that earlier this year I had joined a mastermind, and I was making some progress in it and feeling like I had gotten quite a bit of business coaching, and things were still not coming together with my business as far as just every month I just kind of kept feeling like I was being stuck. And so it dawned on me, I think it was around June, that it seemed like things had just never gotten better or maybe got worse since the Chinese New Year. And so I felt like there must have been some energies affecting that for me. And so I reached out, and then I'm also a Chinese medical practitioner. So, you know, again, the Chinese arts have been of interest to me as well. So.
Yes, that was great. And thank you for joining the group. So how did the energies affect your health for 2018? We're talking about the energies from last year that affected, you know, pretty much a lot of your life. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've had some ongoing health challenges. They are just skin related. So, you know, nothing that's debilitating, but at the same time, a frustrating, persistent issue that I was following some new protocols and feeling like I really wasn't getting, you know, the results that I wanted very quickly. So it was, and I'm a pretty patient person. So, and I know that some health challenges take time to heal. But yeah, it was really not until this December that things finally started to shift after, you know, a lot of months of most of the year of really dedication to my health and those very diligent nutritional protocols and taking supplements and detoxing and all of that. So yeah.
So now you are a health practitioner, health and wellness practitioner, and with all your knowledge, you know, the energy was not lifting, right? You still, did you have like a cough that wouldn't go away also? I recall something like that. Was it?
No, just the skin issue has been the main thing. So yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, it's been, it did start before 2018, but you know, it just, I did find some new protocols this year that, that I started on. And like I said, I didn't really see those results until finally the end of the year. So.
Okay. So you mentioned that work was also affected because the people were not coming, or your programs were not, you were not getting people to sign up for your programs, right? Did that happen to you? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, you know, the frustrating part was that I was putting in the work. It was, you know, creating classes and doing, you know, at least 2 a month where, you know, I was having some people show up most of the time, but just getting people to then show up to work with me one-to-one, or, you know, the clients that were working with me, just, I wasn't having that continuous progress. So it was a very frustrating year.
Yeah. So no growth. There was very little growth, even though you were putting like 200% of an effort on there.
Absolutely. I'm very diligent. I'm very, you know, and I've just gotten all kinds of coaching and just applied everything I could think of. So yeah.
So, so what happened in feng shui in this case is that your entrance was in the worst direction possible for the year. So every year, energy shifts, and the north sector for 2018 got hit with double negative energy. So one of them is known as the calamity energy, and the other one is known as the three killings. And they both affect your health, your opportunities or wealth, and also relationships. So, and being double affected, it means that if it is an area that you use a lot, like, you know, if it is your entrance, everyone is affected. If it is your business, your business is affected. If it is your bedroom, whoever's in the bedroom is affected. So this is what happens with energies, and it's good to know when they're coming, because they usually start shifting towards the end of the year. So that's why if whatever skin issue you had started late in December, for example, that brought the energy for 2018 with. And also as far as things lifting out for you, it happened in December 2018 because energy started shifting and everything, the negative energy started lifting away. So that's how feng shui works. Would you care to tell us a little bit about your personal life and how the energies affected your personal life?
Yeah, I've been in a long-term partnership, and we have a house together. And so anyway, our relationship started to have more problems. We've had some ongoing issues, but it definitely became more evident in the fall. And so anyway, we ended up deciding to actually split ways in December. So yeah.
I'm sorry about that, because it was quite a commitment between you and your partner to have a house together, the time that you spent together. So I'm sorry to hear that. If you don't mind, I have a question in regards to the time frame when things got really bad to a breaking point. So with Chinese astrology, we see someone's personal chart. And looking at your personal chart, it indicates that a bad month for you would be September. Would you say that that would be the time when things got worse for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And so can you tell us a little bit more about, how the monthly program information guided you as far as your space or as far as, your personal goals?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was very helpful for me using the elements and being in rooms, using different rooms that would be more positive for me. I have my entrance in the north, and that was the bad energy for the year. So luckily I have a west entrance, and I started using that other than when my clients were coming in. And we, really just made use of that, so that could help shift the energies. I placed metal in my north sector too to help balance out that energy. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I used was, I clear out the energy after I work with somebody, and I've typically done that with smudging, so with the fire element, and I started using a metal singing bowl and just ringing that and using that in that metal energy in the north, and that I could feel that was definitely making a difference. And then with the different rooms in my house, I would, according to each month, I would spend more or less time in specific rooms depending on what was going on. There were some areas of the house that I tried to avoid more than others, of course. And then if I was trying to manifest something more for business and there was some good energy in a specific room, then I might spend more time in there. So.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your personal stories and about your health, about your business and your relationship. Is there anything else, any other suggestion that you may have for people that are listening in?
I just really appreciate that you're offering this, and I, think there's so much that we can all gain from utilizing the energies, and there's just so many subtle things that we, that we might not know about, and it's just a really easy way to, have more abundance in our life, really, and more safety, more protection, and all of that. So there's a lot of different ways. I'm sure you can explain it better than I can, but to help support you. So I just really encourage everybody to join the group and reach out to you for personal consultations. It's been very valuable to me, so I appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much, Tanya. So Tanya lives in Boise, Idaho, and she's joining us via video but she uses acupressure, nutrition coaching, and Chinese medicine. So she also offers transformational coaching where she connects people to abundance in all its forms using the conscious creation reality method. So thank you so much, Tanya. Thanks for being with us. I look forward to being with you in the next coming month. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
So that was from Tanya. Do you guys have any questions in regards to Tanya's case? Okay, there's one hand raised.
Hi, can you hear me, Veronica?
Perfectly, yes.
Great. The volume was so low on Tanya's testimonial, but I did catch that somehow feng shui can influence positively someone's health. Can you go into that just a little bit more?
Absolutely. So there's different energies in feng shui that are present in the energetic map. The worst, I put Tanya as an example because what happened to her is a perfect example of what happens when the worst energy of the year hits a certain sector in your home. So when that hits the sector, it just, the vibration goes so low and it weakens everything. Depending on where it is, what you do and what your constitution is, it weakens all the chi from the place. So therefore it has an effect on health. So in my newsletters, I always share that whenever the energy is weak someplace, I always say, pregnant ladies should not be there. Elderly should not be there. Children or babies should not be there, or the sick should not be there. Since this has to do about energy, I'll go a little further into energy, but I do, because I like to compare and do the cross-cultural knowledge. There's a lady who's very sensitive to rooms, and I asked and I tested her. And I said, please tell me what you feel in this room. And she said, I feel like I'm being pricked. The energy, the room feels a little sharp.
Wow.
So, and that was the energy of illness. So what happens is that we all have an aura. And when our aura is healthy, it's in one piece. But when the aura becomes subject to little pricks, it becomes weakened. And that's how, illness and lower immune system comes up. And I didn't make that up. This is the part of the Chinese system. And that's what they say. So part of my learning process was to test it out, because logically we think, no, you can't, it can't be true. I invested my time and energy to test this out for myself and through other people that maybe had other talents or better talents. And that's the feedback I got. That's what it is. It's something we don't see, so that's why it's difficult to believe.
And so you would suggest someone not spend, like Tanya was saying, which is most interesting, that she found herself spending time in other rooms and didn't feel good in other rooms. So in a home, there would always be like a safe spot for someone. They wouldn't have to move, right? If the energy shift.
Yes, sometimes it's a matter of moving the bed a little bit.
Okay.
Sometimes, it could be, if it's, a really bad scenario, it could be about moving it to a different room. And it depends on the person. It depends how healthy, what their constitution is. A metal person, for example, a person that has the metal element may not be as affected as somebody who has, for example, maybe the earth energy. And that's something that we look at. So that's why I combine feng shui with Chinese astrology, just to see exactly the specifics on the person. So the way we see it is not a generic way, it's more of a personalized way. So that's the difference here in the systems. And my dog is here. If you see me moving around like this.
My dog does that too. Yeah. Thank you, Veronica. That was very helpful.
Thank you. She keeps coming back. So if anybody has any questions, you could raise your hand and I could definitely unmute you. So how is this energy grid used? So this is the way it is used. Here are some examples of a grid on the right top hand side. That's how the energies are, and they have been shifted because this is a different year from the original one. So as you recall, the original one had these numbers, 4, 5, 6, on a row on a diagonal. And this particular one is from a different year, so it has this constitution. So this happens to be the grid for 2019. We always start with a blueprint, and the blueprint has to be to scale. And here are some examples of, on the right side, how it is applied to a home and how there's certain spaces that are missing, for example, in certain homes when the shapes are not perfectly square or perfectly rectangular. And then on the lower bottom side, there's another way to superimpose this grid, but in a pie shape, which is perfect for certain specific activations. Because a professional uses the box, but also uses the compass directions. And sometimes, like the box gives you 9 directions, but we really may go to 24 directions, or we may really go to 60 directions, depending on what the application would be. But for all of you, this is the perfect thing to take a look at. So my next guest is Melanie Jane Nicholas. And Melanie's got to run over to another meeting. So I'm going to unmute her so she could speak about her experience. Melanie, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So I want to give Melanie credit because I met Melanie at a networking group a couple of years ago. And we were talking about what was going on in the month and things like that. And I was telling her, how the energies were affecting her business and her closest relationships. And that's how this group really started. It started from the need to help people that were close to me. So Melanie and her husband were very instrumental to help me get started doing this. So I'm moving around still because my dog is here. So Melanie, a little bit about Melanie. Melanie is the founder and CEO of Kids International Club and World of Wealth Group. Her experience and her craft comes from her experience as childhood. She's very committed to teaching children, parents, and small businesses utilize, wealth creating systems. She loves systems, so that's why she loves feng shui and Chinese astrology. And she wants to raise healthy individuals. And her values are, she will tell you, faith, family, fitness, and fun. And I think I'm missing one. So welcome, Melanie. Yes, finance. Thank you. So welcome, Melanie. So can you tell us about how energies impact your relationship prior to starting the group?
Yeah. So first of all, as an entrepreneur, I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years now, and a leader in the community. A lot of times as a small business owner, we don't really think about when we should be meeting with people, who we should be working with, because we're pretty much out here wanting to add value to as many people as we want, or even partnering with different different people. And being for instance, being in business with my husband Jonathan, we're constantly trying to craft our business and add value to our clients. And so because our personality is basically going out there, being leaders, helping as many people and building, it wasn't really something that we thought about, that the energies of what's going on of the day was really affecting our lives, in faith, family, fitness, finance, fun, as you mentioned. And until we had met you, Veronica. So thank you for explaining a lot of this, because back then, I'll give you an example. So in our finance industry, our mentors have always taught us, and as you can see here, I've worked with several mentors that are all about wealth, right? And they, of course, they want to inspire us to work during those times in our industry where things are supposed to happen, right? Like in our industry, September, October, November, yes. But they generalize it, right? September, October, November is a big month for our life insurance industry. September being Life Insurance Awareness Month. And but we always found that Jonathan and me, during the month of September, we would always clash as far as, you know, we'd just things were
disagreements, right?
Yes, disagreements. There's disagreements. Things won't happen. We would schedule all these appointments. Clients would cancel on us, and we just didn't understand what was happening. And then October as well was for me, and now I understand that October is a you know, a dog month, which the dragon and the dog clash. And we would always be pushing and forcing things. So a lot of the things we were doing, we worked very hard, and we felt like we were forcing it. A lot of times there wasn't any peace, you know, and things that we would produce wouldn't really come to fruition. And so, and then on top of that, like last year, so I met you, what, 3 years ago. So we started implementing Veronica's system into, you know, Feng Shui into our lives about 2 years ago. So last year was a really great year for us. And then the year before that, we started actually doing some things with our home, and just being able to understand, especially working with Jonathan, just being able to understand how he works and what his strengths are and what my strengths are. Yeah. Yes, his nature. You know, he's more of a laid back person, you know, so for me to have him, you know, ask him to go out there and say, hey, can you, you know, do this presentation, and put him right on the spot. It's very different, you know, so, and that also works out with our kids, right? Because I'm starting to see things like, you know, for the boys, they're both Yang metals, and metals are very strong personality. And before it was very, you know, it was challenging to kind of understand that, but really understanding and having compassion that, you know, that is what's already kind of indicated in their charts.
Okay. Thank you for that, Melanie. And I know sometimes those disagreements cost you certain appointments, you know, and that's the cost sometimes that we don't figure out when the energies are not there. So thank you for that feedback. There's a question from Mag, and Mag wanted to know the 5 seasons. Even though she had to leave, what is the 5 seasons, the solar, the lunar cycles, the 5 elements? So what the 5 elements are the basic, what makes the universe, what makes nature. So there is wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And everybody has those elements within them. Maybe not all of them sometimes, but our personal charts show those elements. And that's how we could see how a person may be more so, let's see, more stern. For example, metal people are more stern. Water people are a lot more fluid. Maybe wood people may be more stubborn, but these are generalizations, but it all depends on how strong that element is. So the chart has 8 characters, and seeing the interaction of the characters tells me how strong it is, how strong or weak, and what influences your industry, your career, yourself, and your ambition. That's all in your chart. I hope that answers your question, Meg. Is any other questions right now for Melanie before she leaves? She has to go to another webinar.
Actually, Vera, I want to touch on, you know, some of the results also for this year.
Sure. So yes, please.
What happened, right? And so once we started implementing, you know, Veronica's Feng Shui, and then we just went through her 9-step program last year as well. So it's really great to understand on a monthly basis for the membership on what's going to happen for the month. Again, so last year was very, we all know we can't really manage time, but energy is what we need to manage, because time is just going to consistently go, right? And so we all have the same amount of time, no matter what. So it's our energy, and what we put our energy into is what I feel kind of refined how we did things,
Mm-hmm.
and what moved us forward. So throughout the year, we were more efficient, because every month, Veronica would go through the energies of our home, for instance. So there were certain things in our homes that we wouldn't, we won't stay in as much, or, she'll send advice on how to decrease the negative energy, right? And also how to increase where to utilize those things. So for us, if we were talking about, creating a product, there's certain places in our home that is great for that, or creating wealth. And because I am all about creating wealth, that's very important for us and for our family, and also for our clients. So implementing that, and moving very efficiently with ease, right? And not forcing things to happen, because it's our nature to just be an overachiever, making sure everything is great for our clients. But having peace of mind and being hyper focused what we need to do for that month. And then she also goes through, well, for us, what if you have a one-on-one with her, she also goes through, which days are your low days, which days are days to, to build wealth, which days are health days, right? And so it's good to, like, on health days, I would just usually do yoga or plan a doctor's appointment on that day. And that's why today we're having a wealth workshop, because it's Jonathan's power day. And so that's why we plan to have it today, and so it's a guide, right? We still do what we do for our clients, but it's a guide to
schedule and plan.
Schedule, exactly, which I do a lot of. And then also for our masterminders, that it's important, because we work on marketing calendars. Marketing is the engine of our business, and it's great to understand our industry, but just tweaking a calendar, like if you wanted to have a big event, but that the energy of that day isn't, or that month isn't really working for you, why do that, right? And so so it's very important to have that. And then for our kids, last year, one of the sectors of our home was not a very good energy for our son. And I started noticing that. So she'll give advice on how to minimize the negative energy, how to utilize it for health. And last year, we actually reached our goal with 75% of what we, time-wise, what we put in the year before. And we still, we hit our goal within, 3/4 of the year, as opposed to utilizing that entire year. Ease and understanding that it's okay to have those days to rest, right? And it's okay to have those days to prune. A lot of it last year for us was finding who we were partnering up with, pruning in our home, and then also strategically partnering with other people. Because as much as I would love to partner with a lot of people, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. So, so I'm very excited about this year, because it is the year of the pig, and the pig is my friend, and my daughter's a pig. So so she really, Veronica's program has really helped us through all this. So thank you, Veronica.
Well, thank you so much for that great explanation. So one of Melanie's values is family. So one of her values, one of her desires was to work efficiently, but with less time. And with the calendar and with the energy, she was able to achieve that, as you heard, in 75% of the time from what she did the previous year. Right, Melanie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's so great, because then then we have, we can create more time with our family, which, like you said, time is big for me. Like, it's a big factor. If I can just double our time, I'd love to. So why not? And we all can, right? Unless we utilize these energies to figure out where we were putting our energy in. So, utilizing the energies of that in business as well, figuring out which networking events to go to, So I take what I've learned from a lot of my mentors in the business world, and then the energies of the day, and I combine them together, and the results are very great.
are better than they were before. Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. So this way you also know, Melanie mentioned something about the year of the pig and knowing that it combines for her astrological chart. So that means that this year is going to be very favorable for her, extremely favorable for her. So in common terms, what she's going to experience is a trifecta of opportunity. So she's already taken advantage of that. She knew that a few months ago, so she has been planning for it, and now she's going for that. And she knows what it is in the combination between her and her husband, what that combination is. For them, it's about authority. So knowing that based on the elements, help them put themselves in a certain position and know exactly what their steps would be. Because when you keep doing something and you keep running against the wall, pretty soon you lose momentum, you waste time, you waste energy, and you also waste emotions. You know, anger sets in and you get set back. You know, you give that and you go back. You come in and you go back. You have to get up all over again. And that takes effort and time. But if you're like a machine that keeps going and going, maybe not 100 miles an hour, but you're going 50, let's say, normal time. You keep going, you're going to get farther than somebody who comes to the wall and keep hitting back and going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So that's what energy is about. This dog is very aggressive. What's wrong, baby? So Melanie has to leave. So if you guys have any questions for her, now is the time. Looks like none. So thank you so much, Melanie, for joining us. And
you're welcome, Veronica. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you, because this was something that was inspired by your case.
You're welcome.
So
and I'm excited to see how it grows also. So
I'm sorry?
I'm excited to see how this program actually evolves and grows as well.
Yes, absolutely, because every year as it grows, I share more things. For example, one of the bonuses this year that I didn't have last year is that I will have another webinar that would require somebody's input, birthday chart, and we'll go over every aspect of your chart. There's 4 pillars. It's called the 4 pillars of destiny. And there's 4 pillars: the year, the month, the day, and the hour. So the year represents your circle of influence, your social circle. Let's say it may be your social media or how you relate to others. Your month represents your career. It also represents your parents. The day represents yourself and your significant other, and the hour represents your children, your ambitions, your projects. How each one of those pillars get influenced by the energy of the year is what we're going to go through. Because some animals, you know, there's 12 animals in the Chinese zodiac, and some animals are going to have a tremendous and favorable year, but some others are not. The thing would be to put your focus on what works and let go of what doesn't work. But knowing what is not working will make you not pay attention to it, instead of wanting to go back over and over again to try to make it work. So that saves you time, energy, and definitely lets you go farther. I think I saw a question over here. Oh, my screen froze. It says, is this still okay?
No, I think it was okay on this end. So.
Oh, okay.
I heard everything.
Okay, thank you. So that's one of the bonuses for the membership this year. And the other one, of course, will be the feng shui of your place. I will go over the energies of your place. If you have a floor plan, it has to be an accurate floor plan, and I'll show you how to place the grid on your floor plan and what they are and what to do according to what's in your home. Is it your entrance? Is it your office? Is it your bathroom, your kitchen? You know, what to look out for. We could do that in the membership group. So that's what's coming up. So I wanted to talk about an example, and I don't think there's any more questions for you, Melanie. So
okay, thank you so much.
So thank you so much for being here. Best of luck to you and Jonathan today on your power day, on his power day.
Power day.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Have
thank you so much. You
Thank
too. Thank you. Bye-bye. So what I wanted to show you or tell you another example about how energies work. The worst energy of the year for 2018 was in the north. In 2018, unfortunately, was a double layer of bad energy. So it was doubled. So what happened? I shared in one of my videos, which I'm sorry the microphone didn't work out very well for me if you didn't hear it, but this lady had tried, it's a singer, a professional singer. And you know, when you work on your own, contracts are very important. And she noticed that her business was going down and down and down. And she kept trying marketing, she kept trying different things, but nothing was working for her. So finally, a friend told her about a colleague that I have, and told her, hey, maybe, you know, those people can help you. So she reached out, and right away he got her data, he got her address, he got her stuff. And, you know, within a very short amount of time, he told her, okay, this is what's happening. You have very bad energy in your life area. You know, that's what your chart tells you also, what your life area is. So when bad energy hits your life area, you know, that's one of the outcomes. So that's what's happening to her. But it was later in the year by the time she got in touch. So it was November. And as you saw in Tanya's case, the energy starts shifting in December. So he told her, no need to, you know, do a consultation, save your money, basically. And energies are going to start shifting next month. She called my colleague back and she said, yes, you're absolutely right. You know, the phone is starting to ring. I'm starting to get contracts. So that was beautiful. That's just energy. That's just how it works. And on the contrary, I have another very dramatic case of someone I know. She left me a message a few days ago and she said, please tell me, you know, things are going to change this year. I had a horrible, horrible year. So she got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she lives with her roommate, and her roommate already was battling liver disease, and he got diagnosed with cancer also, diabetes, and dementia also, because he got into a lot of medicine. He had a lot of medicine that he had to take for all those major illnesses. And I think I'm forgetting one more. So there she is with her treatments, and there he is with his treatment, and family is not able to help out. They're not very helpful. To top it all, her home got infested with bed bugs twice, and she had to get rid of everything she had and start all over again. And somehow through that illness and not feeling well, managed to clean up and do everything like that. Her friends were very helpful. They come and bring her things, they give her things. But even the landlord, you know, looks at her suspiciously. But when bad energy happens, when there's bad energy, you never know what can hit. You know, that is one form of negativity, you know, the bed bugs that happened to her twice. You know, the illnesses that compounded for them. And the other thing that she said, she sent me a text later and she said, I forgot to tell you that our dog died. That was one of the things. And there's probably another thing about this case too. But in her case, there were 4 negative things layering one on top of another. The double negative was the energies of the year. The other one was something that she already knew, that we talked about, is that it was a year when she was going to experience pain. It was written in her chart. So she knew that ahead of time. And she said, I'm going to fight this. So early in the year, she determined that, yes, I'm going to get through this, come, you know, whatever it takes. And the other factor, the 4th factor, was the fact that her home had a special curvature in the way it was situated. So when I mentioned earlier that the environment has as much as 75% effect on the energy, this is exactly this case. She got hit because her home, it's sort of like a cul-de-sac situation where the curve goes towards the building. So it's like this versus like this. It doesn't hug it. It repels it. So when some cars come, that energy hits this way, So it makes that energy worse. It aggravates it more. So this is what happens with their 4 negatives. I will help this lady out. It's real life example of energies at work. And she is very knowledgeable and very, she knows what she does. She's also a holistic doctor, but even with her knowledge of her body, she could not make sense out of it because things were hitting her one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. So this is what happened when you're bombarded with negative energies. So that's about her case. So if you have any questions, I will look through here. There's no questions. All right. So the next thing that I want to do, I know is we've passed 15 minutes, but if you need to leave, please leave. I will continue talk to you about what's up on the membership group. The ladies have shared their positive effects and the results that they get from being in the membership. And this is what it is. It's a monthly Zoom calls. We get together every second Friday of the month. And what that does is the Chinese month starts around the second week or so. It starts in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and it moves over. So it gives you a chance to sort of determine and see what's happening. So as you learn this thing, you also have a chance to feel and see what's happening for yourself. So these are Zoom calls, 1-hour Zoom calls that are recorded. And it has to do with both with the end and your personal chart, because we go over the elements. And this change happens monthly, and sometimes it is about, like Melanie mentioned, it's about just hanging low, or sometimes it's about planning, sometimes it's about networking, getting out there, sometimes it's about getting courage and do something that you haven't done before. So these are things that go on that help you map your mode of action for the month. And like Dorothy said, sometimes I think I need to do that, but I'm not sure. But that really gives her the affirmation that, yes, this is what I'm supposed to do. Because sometimes, even though, from our spiritual practice, we might know something, we might think we know something, we really have been designed to interact with other human beings, with other people, and to bounce off those things off of each other and find confirmation. Because I had some clients that were psychics. I had some clients that were very, very connected spiritually, but they could not work on their own because that's how we've been designed. So this, having a system that is connected with nature, and this is what Chinese astrology is, it's a system that is microscopic version of what the universe is, because we are all part of the universe. So we are made the same as the universe. So this is what your natal chart tells you. What universe element do you have that resonates strongly with you? And based on that and the interaction of the time cycle, that's how you see how it applies. For example, we know that water and fire clash. So what happens? That means that you have to get on your courage and do something. So what happens when water meets wood? That means you have to produce, because water feeds wood, right? So what happens when fire and earth connect, for example? Yeah, that's the same production, but if it goes the opposite way around, let's say earth encounters fire, that means that it has to make an extra effort to do something. So that's in general, that's how that is determined. So I see that we have a question here. Okay, so Dorothy said, yes, that was good. People need people to work with, to be encouraged by, to talk and learn and lean on. Absolutely, yes. So that's how we've been designed. So see, we think that from this point of view, as well as Dorothy is ordained minister, so she feels the same way. So this is what I love about this group, because we are all from totally different backgrounds, totally different age group, personalities, upbringing, and to bring that commonality here in the group is wonderful, because the way I explain it I want to explain it in a way that is also cross-cultural, because that's another thing that we have. And really, there's not too many people that are only one race. You know, we're all a bunch of different, we have all a bunch of different ingredients. So this is the great thing. So you get to take a look at your personal chart. And the personal chart, like I said, has the 4 elements, but it also has an aspect of time. And that's what we go over every month and how it affects us. So there's the static part of the chart, and there's the dynamic part of the chart. And like I said, the community interactive groups are people who are here for higher knowledge, people that resonate with the elements, and maybe people that resonate with feng shui or the Asian arts, or higher knowledge. And even though this is higher knowledge, it is really has to do about the universe. It isn't, you know, knowledge that is going to convert you either way. It's knowledge that is really neutral. And whenever there is an event, whenever there's going to be a class or another mode of information, for example, I'm designing a program on relationships, because your chart also shows you why is it that, you know, in your childhood, your upbringing, the most important part in your life, you know, why is it that your parents weren't able to nurture that part of you? Why did you feel like an outsider? Why is it that, you know, maybe you don't have a good relationship with your child? Why is it? So those little details and things that are big in our world, when you see that in your chart, you know, it makes sense. It makes sense. It helps you understand the whys of the relationships. So that's another thing that you see in your chart. Here are the bonuses. So the bonus is going to be how the astrology affect your pillars. And this is how a chart looks like. As you can see, there's 4 pillars. There's the year, the month, the day, and the hour. So the day also tells you what type of partner, you know, you look for. What type of partner is good for you. So in my relationship module, I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you how people resonate. Some people resonate by hearing, some people resonate by touching. You know, you have to catch their attention not by talking to them, but by touching. They resonate by touch. There's different senses that are related to the 5 elements. And the bonus number 2 is about the energy of the year. And in fact, these little tic-tac-toe over here is the energies of 2019. And I will explain what the energies are. The 8 is always wealth. The 3 is always arguments. The 4 is always PR, romance. The 5 is always the worst energy of the year. The 7 is about robbery. The 6 is about mentors. The 2 is about illness. The 1 is about career opportunities, and the 9 is about future wealth. So that's how you see how it relates, but everything has an element, and how they interact is what I go over every month. Is that energy weak? Is that energy clashing? Is that energy favorable or not favorable? That's what we go through every month. The price for the program is $198 for the whole year. And that includes these 2 bonuses. The reason why I have the date of January 21st is because there's a special date after January 21st that I would like you to use. So to get the best results, to neutralize some of those negative energies. And I have a question coming up. So Ariana has to go. Thank you, Ariana, for being here. And I will see you on the program later on. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so we are towards the end of the program, and I wanted to let you know also that there's a free ebook available for download. It's at the bottom of the homepage. It tells you also about what I just talked about, all the energies, the 9 sectors, so feel free to go there and download it. It's complimentary. And to know more about the monthly membership group, what other testimonials, and the link to access that, it would be on the /monthly-membership to sign up for the offer. I'm open to any questions right now. If you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I know I have taken your time. So I'm waiting for some questions from you guys. If you have any questions, feel free. Raise your hands and I could unmute you. The deadline to sign up is Monday, January the 21st. And like I said, I wanted to do it Monday, the January 21st, because I wanted to be able to send you some information to place your cures on certain days so it is more of an effective placement. Because when you get into classical feng shui, you pick certain times and dates that are favorable to do certain activities. And I would like you to take advantage of that. That's why the deadline is Monday, January 21st. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach me via Facebook, or you could also email me. And I think, oh, I didn't put my email, but you could go on my website under contact. You could get in touch with me. You could always text me via Facebook and I'll be able to answer. I'm also on WhatsApp if you're out of the country. And I believe my uncle signed up here, so I wanted to say hi to my uncle. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Tina. Yanjin Khan, I'm sorry, I butchered your name. Thank you for being here. Mag, Lexi, Kulan, thank you for being here. Karen, thank you. Jan, Heidi, thank you. Aaron, thank you. Josefina, thank you so much. And Dorothy, thank you so much for being here. Unless you guys have any more questions, I'll wait one more minute and then I will end this session. I wish you all a very happy New Year 2019. I hope this was very helpful to you, an eye-opener and thought-provoking session. I plan to have a few more of these sessions during the year and maybe a Q&A session once in a while. If this was helpful to you, please share that too and let me know what was helpful to you, what wasn't, or what is it that you want more of, because I'm here to serve you and I need your input. I guess your feedback would be appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you, Josefina, for being here and have a wonderful day, wonderful Saturday. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.